What if Naruto and Fu share same bond? Part 2. The battlefield was tense, charged with raw power. Naruto and Fu stood at the front, chakra flaring violently around them. Jiraiya, Kakashi, and Shikamaru held their positions, while Gamabunta loomed behind, ready to strike. Pain, unfazed, merely observed them with his Rinnegan. You struggle in vain. You will know true pain soon enough. Blah, 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 asterisk, Naruto growled, cracking his knuckles. Let's see if you can back that up. Without warning, he vanished asterisk. His speed, enhanced by Kurama's chakra, left only a blur as he reappeared beside Pain with a Rasengan already formed. Got you. Pain lifted his hand. Shinra Tensei. The repulsive force slammed into Naruto, sending him flying backward. But before he could crash, Fu intercepted, catching him midair with her wings before launching him straight back at Pain. Round 2. Bastard. This time, Naruto created multiple shadow clones mid-flight. They all attacked at once, forcing Pain to redirect his focus. Now, asterisk Jiraiya made a hand sign. Asterisk Senpo. Gomon. A massive torrent of oil, fire, and wind erupted from his mouth, flooding the battlefield in a wave of destruction. Kakashi capitalized on the distraction, his Reikiri crackling as he closed in. Nice teamwork, asterisk, Shikamaru muttered, already weaving hand signs. But Pain was far from finished. Asterisk Chibaku Tensei. The air shook asterisk. A black sphere rose into the sky, and suddenly, everything began to pull toward it. The ground ripped apart, boulders and debris flying upward. Even Naruto and Fu were dragged toward the growing core. Shit. Asterisk Naruto struggled against the gravitational force, but it was too strong. We have to stop it before it gets bigger. Asterisk Fu shouted. Then let's hit it together. Naruto's chakra exploded into Kurama's fiery red cloak, while Fu's chakra shimmered with Chomei's vibrant green glow. Asterisk Rasenshuriken. Tailed beast bullet. The two attacks merged midair, creating a spiraling vortex of pure destruction. It collided with the Chibaku Tensei core. And the sky erupted asterisk. A shockwave tore through the battlefield, blasting Pain backward as his jutsu was destroyed asterisk. When the dust settled, Naruto and Fu stood side by side, breathing heavily. Pain slowly rose, his cloak torn. Impressive. But before he could make his next move, another voice cut through the battlefield. That's enough. A swirling vortex appeared in the air. Madara Uchiha stepped out. This battle is over. Naruto's body tensed the moment he saw the swirling void of Kamui appear. The air itself felt wrong, thick with a pressure that made the battlefield feel even heavier than before. When the masked figure stepped out, his presence alone sent a chill through the spines of even the strongest fighters. Madara Uchiha, asterisk, Jiraiya's voice was grim, his sage mode enhanced senses instantly warning him of the sheer danger radiating from the man. So, you're the one pulling the strings, asterisk, Naruto growled, fists clenched. Figures you'd show up now that were kicking Pain's ass. Madara tilted his head slightly, his Sharingan spinning lazily beneath his mask. Bold words, asterisk, he mused, voice calm but carrying an eerie amusement. But I have no interest in petty struggles. This battle was never yours to win. In an instant, he vanished asterisk. Naruto barely had time to blink before Madara reappeared behind him. Too slow. Naruto barely dodged as a kunai sliced through the air, cutting a few strands of his hair. He flipped backward, landing beside Fu, who had already activated her chakra cloak in full. Damn, he's fast, asterisk, Fu muttered, wings buzzing as she warily watched Madara's every movement. Way faster than Pain. Be careful, asterisk, Kakashi warned, stepping forward with his own Mangekyo Sharingan active. This man isn't just strong, he's on a completely different level. Then we hit him with everything we've got. Asterisk Naruto roared, surging forward with a Rasenshuriken forming in his hand. Naruto, wait. Asterisk Jiraiya called out, but it was too late. Madara stood completely still as Naruto closed in, not even raising a hand to defend himself. The Rasenshuriken screamed as it neared him. And then, Naruto's attack phased right through him. Asterisk. What the? Naruto stumbled forward as if Madara wasn't even there. A child's mistake, asterisk, Madara said smoothly, his voice mocking as he casually turned to face them again. Attacking something you don't understand is foolish. Before Naruto could react, Madara's hand reached toward him, his fingers passing through Naruto's chest as if he were a ghost. Shit. Asterisk Kakashi darted forward, his own Kamui swirling in his eye as he forced Madara to retreat. Madara pulled back, unimpressed. Ah, Kakashi. I see you've been dabbling with my abilities. How quaint. What the hell was that? Fu demanded, stepping protectively in front of Naruto. That wasn't a substitution. He literally disappeared for a second. Intangibility, asterisk, Kakashi gritted out. He can make himself untouchable for brief moments. And if he combines that with his teleportation, asterisk, then attacking him is useless. Naruto clenched his teeth, frustration boiling. There has to be a way to hit him. Madara chuckled. It's amusing to watch you try. But I'm afraid this game is over. His Mangekyo spun, and suddenly, black chains erupted from the ground, racing toward Naruto and Fu. Move. Asterisk Jiraiya leapt in front of them, slamming his hands down. Doden. Yomi Numa. The ground beneath the chains turned into a deep swamp, slowing them just enough for Naruto and Fu to escape. We need a plan, and fast, asterisk, Kakashi said, eyeing Madara warily. If we don't figure out how to hit him, we're all dead. Shikamaru narrowed his eyes, already analyzing the battle. There has to be a limit. No ability is infinite. But how do we find it before he kills us? Fu snapped. Madara exhaled, almost disappointed. You've entertained me enough. His Sharingan spun again, and the world itself began to twist asterisk. A vortex of space-time engulfed the battlefield, swallowing everything around them. The Konoha shinobi braced themselves as reality seemed to collapse asterisk. This isn't normal Kamui, asterisk, Kakashi whispered, horrified. Madara's voice rang out, deep and absolute. Welcome to the true power of the Uchiha. And then, everything went dark. Naruto felt his stomach lurch as the world collapsed around him. 1 second, he was on the battlefield, surrounded by his allies. The next, everything was gone asterisk. The sky, the ground, even the air itself felt warped, twisting into a void of endless darkness. He landed hard on what felt like solid stone, but when he looked down, there was nothing asterisk. Just an endless abyss stretching beneath him. What the hell? A groan to his side made him turn. Fu was there, pushing herself up, her wings flickering erratically as if struggling to function in this bizarre space. Naruto. She shook her head, trying to steady herself. Where are we? I don't know, asterisk, he muttered, scanning the surroundings. There was no wind, no scent, no life asterisk. Only the feeling of something watching them. Then, a voice, smooth and controlled, cut through the void. This is my domain. Madara stepped forward from the darkness as if he had always been there, his Sharingan glowing like 2 blood-red moons. A world between reality and illusion, asterisk, he continued, his tone almost bored. My own personal battlefield, where time and space bend to my will. Asterisk TCH. Fu rose fully to her feet, chakra surging. You think throwing us into some creepy void is going to stop us? No, asterisk, Madara said simply. I'm merely removing distractions. Naruto clenched his fists. You bastard, where are the others? Madara tilted his head slightly. Safe. For now. Naruto's anger flared. Let them go. Madara sighed. You misunderstand, boy. This was never about them. This was about you. Naruto's body stiffened as Madara's gaze locked onto him, as if peering through him. I have watched you for some time, asterisk, Madara mused, pacing slowly. A Jinchuriki who defied fate, who refuses to break despite the weight of the world on his shoulders. He stopped, his eyes narrowing. And yet, for all your power, for all your struggles, you are still weak. Naruto snarled. Say that to my face, you arrogant, asterisk. Madara moved asterisk. No flash, no blur, just gone and there, right in front of Naruto. A fist slammed into his gut. Asterisk goo. Asterisk Naruto's eyes went wide as the impact cracked through his ribs, his body folding from the sheer force. Naruto. Asterisk Fu dashed forward, chakra blades forming in her hands, but Madara caught her wrist effortlessly. You, too, asterisk, he murmured. A creature of hope, clinging to borrowed power. His grip tightened, and Fu screamed as dark chains erupted from the void, wrapping around her body asterisk. F Fu, asterisk Naruto gasped, trying to rise, but his body refused to respond. That one punch. He had taken countless blows before, but this was different asterisk. It was like Madara's strength had torn through him asterisk. Madara turned back to him, unimpressed. You rely too much on Kurama's chakra. Naruto gritted his teeth. And you rely too much on running your damn mouth. A burst of red chakra exploded from his body, a raw, furious wave of power that shattered the ground beneath him. His skin burned with Kurama's influence, his eyes slitting as he forced himself to stand. That's more like it, asterisk, Madara said, his Sharingan gleaming. Come, show me what the so-called child of prophecy is capable of. Naruto didn't hesitate. Let's see if you can keep up, you ancient bastard. And the void erupted as the battle truly began. Naruto vanished in a flash of red and black, Kurama's chakra howling around him like a raging inferno. His fist, wreathed in raw power, slammed forward, only for Madara to tilt his head slightly, dodging with impossible ease. Faster, asterisk, Madara murmured. Or you'll die. Naruto snarled, twisting midair as a Rasengan roared to life in his palm. Then die already. He drove the spiraling sphere toward Madara's chest, only for his hand to pass right through him asterisk. Damn it. Madara's hand materialized just as suddenly, gripping Naruto's wrist with an iron grip. Still predictable. A brutal kick buried itself into Naruto's stomach, launching him through the air like a bullet. His body skidded across the void surface, the strange space beneath him rippling like water. Naruto. Fu's wings buzzed violently as she broke free of the chains momentarily, her hand forming a chakra lance asterisk. Take this. She threw the projectile with blinding speed, so fast it tore the very air apart. But Madara simply let it phase through him asterisk. Futile. He appeared in front of her instantly, before she could even react. Too slow. His palm slammed into her stomach, an unseen force exploding outward. Fu screamed as she was hurled back, her wings flickering in distress. Asterisk TCH. Asterisk Naruto forced himself to his feet, rage boiling in his blood. Kurama growled in his mind. He's toying with you, brat. I know asterisk, damn it. Madara sighed as he watched Naruto rise, unimpressed. I expected more. Perhaps the world's faith in you was misplaced. Naruto wiped the blood from his lip, his breath coming in ragged pants. Shut the hell up, asterisk. Madara simply watched. Then, very well. The world shifted asterisk. Madara's form twisted, his Sharingan blazing as his body became a storm of chakra and malice. A hum filled the void. Now, asterisk. The perfect Susanoo descended, its towering form casting everything in shadow. Asterisk. Let's end this. The void trembled under the sheer pressure of Madara's perfect Susanoo. The massive, ethereal warrior loomed over Naruto and Fu, its blade crackling with energy that could cleave mountains asterisk. Naruto's breath came in ragged gasps, but his fists remained clenched. You think I'm just gonna roll over and die? His chakra exploded, the red cloak around him twisting into jagged edges as Kurama's power surged. You're gonna have to kill me first, you masked bastard. And yet, asterisk, Madara mused, his voice eerily calm as his Susanoo raised its sword. You still fail to understand. The blade fell asterisk. Naruto. Asterisk Fu screamed, wings bursting to life as she raced toward him. But Naruto was already moving asterisk. Kurama. Asterisk on it. A maelstrom of orange erupted around him, flesh twisting into pure chakra asterisk. In an instant, the Nine Tails avatar materialized, massive claws intercepting the colossal Susanoo blade. A shockwave ripped through the void. Kurama's claws dug in, straining against the sheer force of the attack. Asterisk TCH. Asterisk Naruto gritted his teeth, veins bulging on his forehead. Damn, this guy, asterisk. Fu wasted no time. Asterisk Chome. Right behind you, kid. Her own form shifted, an enormous beetle-like chakra avatar bursting forth. Chome's brilliant jade wings shimmered, a sharp contrast to the endless void. Together, asterisk Naruto roared, hit him now. Kurama and Chome attacked as one asterisk. A tidal wave of raw Biju chakra slammed into Madara's Susanoo, a blinding fusion of orange and emerald obliterating everything in its path. For a moment, just a moment, Madara's form disappeared into the explosion. Then, pathetic. A crimson flash asterisk. Naruto's eyes widened. The Susanoo blade pierced straight through Kurama's chest asterisk. Asterisk ga. Asterisk Naruto howled as searing pain ripped through his body, his chakra cloak flickering violently. Naruto. Asterisk Fu's voice was desperate asterisk. Madara descended from the air, his Susanoo fading, because he no longer needed it asterisk. You have heart, asterisk, he admitted, stepping toward the wounded Naruto, but heart alone is meaningless. Naruto gasped, trying to stand, but his body refused to listen. It's over, asterisk, Madara declared. You never stood a chance. Like hell it is. Asterisk Fu darted forward, desperation fueling her attack. But Madara blinked asterisk. Sleep. Fu's body froze asterisk. Her vision blurred asterisk. And in the next instant, she collapsed asterisk. Fu. Asterisk Naruto's voice broke asterisk. Madara exhaled, stepping closer, his eyes piercing through Naruto's very soul. You could have been great, asterisk, he murmured. But you are still shackled by weakness. His hand rose, his asterisk Mangekyo spun. Now, asterisk. The world darkened asterisk. Asterisk, you will know true despair. Naruto's body refused to move. His limbs were numb, his chakra erratic. Every instinct screamed at him to fight, but his muscles wouldn't listen asterisk. He could only watch as Madara raised his hand, his asterisk Mangekyo asterisk pulsing with raw power. I will break you, asterisk, Madara murmured. And when you finally understand the futility of resistance, only then will I grant you death. The world collapsed inward. A pressure unlike anything Naruto had ever felt crushed his very existence. Genjutsu. Asterisk Kurama's voice roared in his mind, but even the Nine Tails sounded distant asterisk. Reality shattered asterisk. Naruto stood in Konoha. But something was wrong asterisk. The village was silent asterisk. Buildings lay in ruins, smoke curling from shattered rooftops. The Hokage monument was cracked, faces marred beyond recognition. What? His voice sounded small asterisk. A whimper made him turn. Fu knelt a few feet away, her body trembling. Fu. Asterisk Naruto rushed forward, only to freeze asterisk. Blood soaked the ground beneath her. No, asterisk. Fu lifted her head, her eyes hollow asterisk. You let me die, asterisk, she whispered. Naruto's breath caught asterisk. Number. Asterisk. You weren't strong enough, asterisk, she murmured, her voice fading asterisk. You never were. Her body crumbled into dust. No. It's pointless, asterisk, a voice sneered. Naruto spun around, and stared at himself. Or rather, Something that looked like him. A version of himself cloaked in darkness, his eyes burning with malice. You keep fighting, asterisk, the shadow mocked. But what's the point? Everyone you love will die asterisk. Shut up. Asterisk Naruto lunged. But his hand passed through the figure. Face it, asterisk, the shadow whispered, its voice wrapping around him like a noose. You are alone asterisk. Naruto's body shook asterisk. No, asterisk. Just give up, asterisk, the shadow taunted. Accept the truth. The world darkened further. Wake up, brat. Kurama's roar shattered the illusion. Naruto gasped, reality slamming back into him like a tidal wave. His body was still trembling, Madara standing before him, eyes glowing with the remnants of the genjutsu. Still conscious, Madara sounded almost amused. Impressive, but pointless. Like hell it is. Asterisk Naruto forced himself up, his breath ragged, his chakra surging violently. I don't care what you show me. Asterisk his fists clenched, blood dripping from his knuckles. I don't care how strong you think you are. I will never give up. A shockwave erupted from his body. And then, Fu stirred asterisk. Madara's gaze flickered to her. Still alive. Of course, asterisk, Fu's voice was weak but defiant asterisk. She forced herself to her feet, eyes burning with determination. I promised Naruto I wouldn't lose. Chakras swirled around her, green wings flaring to life once more. Naruto and Fu stood together, battered but unbroken asterisk. Madara, asterisk, Naruto growled, his eyes blazing asterisk. You're gonna regret underestimating us. Madara sighed. Then come. The battle wasn't over yet. Naruto and Fu stood side by side, their chakras roaring to life despite their battered bodies. Kurama's presence burned through Naruto's veins, and Chomei's wings glowed brilliantly behind Fu, their combined energy shaking the void itself. Madara remained still, watching them with detached amusement. You stand, but for how long? Long enough to kick your ass. Asterisk Naruto's chakra exploded, flames of golden orange twisting around him as Kurama's power surged to its peak. Let's go, Fu. Fu flashed him a grin, though her legs trembled beneath her. You don't have to tell me twice. They vanished asterisk. Madara's eyes barely flickered before Naruto's fist slammed toward his face, the force enough to shatter mountains. But, too slow. Madara tilted his head, effortlessly dodging before twisting his body, his leg lashing out. Asterisk goo. Asterisk Naruto barely brought his arms up in time, the impact sending him flying asterisk. But Fu was already there asterisk. Take this. Her chakra lance formed in an instant, the green energy blazing like a miniature sun. She hurled it forward. Madara lifted a single finger. And stopped it midair. Impossible. Asterisk Fu gasped. Pathetic. Madara snapped his fingers. The lance exploded, but not toward him. The force backfired, slamming into Fu's stomach like a thunderclap asterisk. Asterisk og. Asterisk Fu's body twisted, blood splattering from her lips as she crashed into the void surface. Fu. Asterisk Naruto caught her just before she hit the ground, his arms trembling from the impact. Damn it. Fu coughed weakly, her eyes hazy. He turned my own attack against me, asterisk. Damn bastard, asterisk, Naruto muttered. He gently set her down before standing, his eyes blazing with fury. Kurama. Asterisk on it. The entire battlefield shook. The nine tails emerged in his true form, towering over Madara, fangs bared in pure hatred. Enough of your games, Uchiha. Asterisk Kurama roared, his tails whipping through the void like colossal spears. Madara smirked. Now we're getting somewhere. With a single clap of his hands, his Rinnegan blazed. Limbo. Naruto's eyes widened. Something invisible struck Kurama square in the jaw. Gah. Asterisk the massive fox reeled backward, his body cracking through the void surface like glass. Naruto spun, but he saw nothing asterisk. What the hell? You cannot see them, asterisk, Madara explained calmly, stepping forward as his Susanoo began to reform around him. My shadows exist in a plane beyond your reach. Asterisk TCH. Asterisk Naruto gritted his teeth. Then I'll just hit harder. A asterisk Rasenshuriken asterisk formed in his palm, spinning so violently that even the void trembled beneath its energy. Madara. Asterisk Naruto threw it with all his might. Madara simply raised his hand. Shinra Tensei. A shockwave detonated outward. The Rasenshuriken disintegrated instantly. What? Did you really think I wouldn't have mastered the power of the Sage of Six Paths? Madara's tone was mocking, almost bored asterisk. You are nothing before me. Shut up. Asterisk Naruto's entire body ignited with chakra, his form blurring as he rushed forward asterisk. I'm not losing to you. Madara smirked. Then die trying. Their fists collided, and the battle erupted into a storm of pure devastation. The clash between Naruto and Madara shattered the void itself. Each strike sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield, tearing apart the very fabric of space. Naruto's fist, burning with Kurama's power, collided against Madara's forearm, but the Uchiha barely flinched. Instead, his counterattack was instantaneous, a knee driving into Naruto's gut with bone-crushing force. Gah! Asterisk Naruto gagged, spitting blood as his body lurched backward. But he twisted midair, slamming his hands together. Shadow Clone Jutsu. A dozen clones burst into existence, each forming asterisk Rasengan's asterisk in their palms. Attack from all angles. Futile. Madara's Rinnegan flared. Asterisk Chibaku Tensei. The gravity tripled in an instant. Naruto's clones collapsed, crushed before they could even land a hit. Asterisk TCH. Asterisk Naruto's muscles strained against the overwhelming pull, his breath ragged asterisk. And then, Madara appeared in front of him. Too slow. A palm slammed into Naruto's chest. Shinra Tensei. The force was cataclysmic asterisk. Asterisk AARRGHH. Naruto was blasted backward, his body skidding across the void as if he were nothing but a ragdoll. Naruto. Fu was already moving asterisk. Her chakra surged, wings flaring as she zipped through the air at blinding speed. Asterisk Chome. I got you, kid. A barrier of emerald chakra erupted between Naruto and Madara. But Madara merely sighed asterisk. A weak shield will not save you. His limbo clones struck simultaneously. Fu's barrier shattered asterisk. Ah! Asterisk Fu staggered, her vision spinning asterisk. You're open. Madara materialized behind her, his hand reaching for her throat asterisk. Naruto's heart stopped asterisk. No. A flash of instinct took over. His chakra howled, his body vanishing in a burst of speed. Madara's fingers brushed against Fu's neck. But in the next instant, asterisk RAAAAHH. Naruto tackled Madara, driving both of them into the ground with enough force to leave a crater asterisk. You're not touching her. Asterisk Naruto's fist, burning with the full power of Kurama, slammed into Madara's face. A shockwave erupted. Madara's head snapped to the side, his Sharingan flickering. But his smirk remained. That's more like it. A dark aura erupted from his body. And Naruto realized his mistake asterisk. Madara grabbed him by the wrist. Too predictable. Before Naruto could react, a black rod pierced through his stomach. Asterisk GHH. Pain exploded through his body. Madara's grip tightened, his voice dripping with amusement. You fight well, but you lack vision asterisk. Naruto choked on blood. Asterisk D damn, you, asterisk. This fight bores me. Madara threw him like trash asterisk. Naruto crashed into the void, his body trembling as blood pooled beneath him. Naruto. Fu sprinted toward him, her chakra flaring wildly. Hold on. You should worry about yourself. Fu barely had time to react. Before Madara's limbo clone appeared behind her. Die. A black blade plunged toward her spine asterisk. Naruto's vision blurred asterisk. No. And then. Something inside him snapped. A pulse of pure energy erupted from his body. Madara's eyes narrowed. As Naruto's form changed asterisk. The golden glow of Kurama's chakra shifted. Becoming something else asterisk. Something divine asterisk. Naruto's body lifted from the ground, his wounds sealing instantly asterisk. His eyes, once blue, became pure, brilliant gold asterisk. The markings on his face deepened asterisk, and his entire form radiated an overwhelming, celestial presence. This power, asterisk, Madara's voice was calm, but his gaze hardened asterisk. So you finally awaken, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto opened his glowing eyes. This is your last chance, Madara. Leave, or I will erase you. Madara's smirk returned asterisk. Then show me. The final battle was about to begin. Naruto's golden aura blazed like a second sun, his very presence warping the battlefield. His feet hovered inches above the ground, the sheer force of his chakra distorting the air itself. Madara's smirk remained, but his eyes, his Rinnegan, were analyzing asterisk. Calculating. This power, he mused, voice almost admiring asterisk. You've finally reached the level of the Sage of Six Paths. No, asterisk, Naruto said, his voice carrying a new weight asterisk. I'm beyond that. And then, he vanished asterisk. Madara's eyes widened asterisk. Naruto appeared behind him, too slow. A single flick of Naruto's wrist sent Madara flying, his body crashing through the void like a ragdoll. But Naruto wasn't done asterisk. In an instant, he was above Madara, a Rasengan, no, something far greater, spinning in his palm. It wasn't just chakra, it was nature itself, compressed into a sphere of absolute destruction asterisk. Divine Rasenshuriken. He hurled it. The moment it left his hand, the entire battlefield shook asterisk. Madara gritted his teeth, his hands flashing through seals. Shinra Tensei. The almighty push met the Rasenshuriken. And lost asterisk. What? The Rasenshuriken tore through his defenses like paper, engulfing him in pure devastation. A shockwave ripped through the void. When the light finally faded, Madara staggered, his armor shattered, his left arm missing asterisk. His breath was ragged, his Rinnegan spinning wildly as his body regenerated asterisk. Impossible, asterisk, he muttered. This power shouldn't exist, asterisk. Believe it, asterisk. Naruto's voice was calm, his eyes locked onto Madara. You're done, Madara. Asterisk HMPH, asterisk, Madara exhaled, but then, he grinned asterisk. Not yet, boy. The sky itself ripped open asterisk. A massive sphere of darkness descended, swirling with energy that made even Naruto's golden form waver asterisk. Infinite Tsukuyomi. Not happening. Naruto raised his hand. And then, Fu moved asterisk. I got you, Naruto. Her wings flared, her chakra merging with his. Asterisk Chome, give me everything. Hold on, kid. Their combined power, Fu's life energy merging with Naruto's golden chakra, surged asterisk. Final tailed beast barrage. A colossal explosion of energy erupted, annihilating the infinite Tsukuyomi before it could take hold. Madara's eyes widened asterisk. What? Naruto vanished. And then, his fist collided with Madara's chest. Asterisk ha. The impact was cataclysmic asterisk. Madara's body ruptured, space itself shattering around him. His Rinnegan dimmed, his limbs breaking apart. This can't, asterisk. It's over, asterisk, Naruto said quietly, his golden aura flickering like a dying star. Rest, Madara. A final pulse of chakra engulfed the battlefield. And Madara Uchiha was no more asterisk. The world slowly settled asterisk. Naruto stumbled, his golden glow fading as exhaustion crashed into him. Naruto. Asterisk Fu caught him just before he collapsed, her arms steady around him. You did it, asterisk, she whispered. It's over, asterisk. Naruto chuckled weakly. Yeah, guess it is, asterisk. Fu smiled, brushing a hand through his hair. You're amazing, you know that. Naruto gave her a lopsided grin. Took you this long to figure that out? Fu laughed, pulling him closer. Idiot. As the dust finally settled, as the war ended, Naruto and Fu stood together, victorious. Naruto let out a slow breath as the last remnants of his golden chakra flickered out, leaving only the warmth of Fu's arms around him. His body felt like lead, every muscle aching from the sheer amount of energy he had poured into that final battle. But despite the exhaustion, a small smile tugged at his lips. It was over. Fu tightened her grip on him, as if afraid that if she let go, he would disappear. You scared me back there, you know. She muttered. Naruto chuckled weakly. Yeah, I kinda scared myself too. He leaned his forehead against hers, their breaths mingling in the aftermath of destruction. But I knew you had my back. Fu's expression softened, her bright green eyes searching his. Always. For the first time in a long while, Naruto felt a strange sense of peace settle over him. No wars. No threats looming on the horizon. Just the quiet hum of victory and the warmth of the girl holding him. Naruto. A new voice broke the moment, and they turned to see Sasuke approaching, his expression as unreadable as ever. Despite his best efforts, there was something almost relieved in his gaze. TCH. Took you long enough to finish him off. Naruto grinned. You're welcome. Sasuke scoffed but didn't argue. Instead, he glanced at Fu before looking back at Naruto. What now? Naruto let out a tired sigh, running a hand through his messy hair. Now, he looked at Fu, then at the sky, which was finally free of Madara's looming darkness. We go home. Fu's hand slipped into his, her fingers lacing with his own. Together, she said. Naruto squeezed her hand. Together. As the dust settled, as the stars above shone brighter than ever, Naruto and Fu walked forward, toward a future that was finally theirs to shape. The journey back to Konoha was quieter than Naruto expected. The world felt different, lighter, freer, as if a great weight had been lifted from existence itself. He walked hand in hand with Fu, her warmth grounding him, reminding him that this was real. Sasuke led the way, his usual silent brooding intact, though Naruto could tell he was deep in thought. Occasionally, the Uchiha would glance back at them, as if wanting to say something, but each time, he held his tongue. Naruto smirked to himself. Sasuke had always been like that. As they crossed the ruined battlefield, Fu glanced at him. Do you think people will finally accept us now? Naruto exhaled, rubbing the back of his head. I dunno, people can be stubborn. He gave her a small, reassuring smile. But if they don't, we'll just keep proving them wrong. Fu smiled, leaning her head against his shoulder as they walked. I like the sound of that. The gates of Konoha came into view hours later. By now, the news of Madara's defeat had likely spread across the nations. Shinobi and civilians alike lined the entrance, whispering among themselves. It's Naruto. They're back. That girl with him, isn't she from Takigakure? Naruto straightened his back as they passed through, his grip on Fu tightening just slightly. He wasn't afraid, but he wasn't naive either. There were still many who saw Jinchuriki as nothing more than weapons or disasters waiting to happen. But before any murmurs could turn to hostility, a loud voice cut through the crowd. Naruto oh. A blur of pink and blonde rushed toward him. Sakura. Naruto barely had time to brace himself before she punched him, hard. You idiot. Sakura's fist shook as she glared at him. Do you have any idea how worried we were? Ow. 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 Naruto groaned, rubbing his head. Nice to see you too, Sakura-chan, TCH. But despite her scolding, her eyes were suspiciously wet. Don't scare us like that again. Number promises, Naruto joked, only to earn another smack. Fu giggled beside him. You get hit a lot, huh? You have no idea, asterisk, Naruto muttered. Before Sakura could start again, Kakashi appeared, his usual lazy demeanor intact. Well, the hero returns, asterisk, he said, his one visible eye crinkling in amusement. And with a guest, I see. Fu tensed slightly under the weight of the stairs, but Naruto squeezed her hand. This is Fu. She fought with me against Madara. Nice to meet you, asterisk, Fu said, offering a nervous smile. Kakashi studied her for a moment before nodding. Any friend of Naruto's is welcome here. Fu blinked. Just like that. Kakashi chuckled. Trust me, after everything Naruto's done for this village, he could probably marry the Raikage's sister and people would still throw him a festival. Naruto sputtered. Wait, what? Fu laughed, the tension melting away. As the crowd around them finally erupted in cheers, as friends welcomed them back with warmth and relief, Naruto realized something. For the first time in his life, he wasn't just fighting to be acknowledged. He was acknowledged. And with Fu by his side, the future felt brighter than ever. As the village celebrated their return, Naruto felt the exhaustion of battle settling into his bones. The cheers, the bright lights, the sheer energy of Konoha, it was overwhelming. But through it all, Fu's presence beside him was steady, grounding him. Tsunade soon arrived, pushing through the crowd with her usual commanding presence. Her sharp eyes scanned Naruto up and down before she sighed. You look like hell, brat. Naruto grinned. Nice to see you too, Ba-chan. Tsunade's eyebrow twitched, but instead of smacking him, she placed a hand on his shoulder. You did good, Naruto. The rare moment of praise caught him off guard. Before he could respond, Tsunade turned her gaze to Fu. And you must be Fu of Takigakure. Fu hesitated before nodding. Yes, Hokage-sama. Tsunade studied her for a moment before sighing. I assume you don't have a home to return to, considering how things went with Takigakure. Fu's smile faltered slightly, but she nodded. I don't. Naruto felt her fingers tighten around his. Without thinking, he stepped forward. Then she can stay here, asterisk, he said firmly. With me. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Tsunade arched a brow. With you. Yeah, asterisk, Naruto said without hesitation. She fought with me, she saved my life, and, asterisk, he glanced at Fu, his expression softening. She belongs with us. Fu's eyes widened, and for a moment, Naruto thought she might cry. But instead, she just smiled, the brightest smile he had ever seen. Tsunade sighed, rubbing her temple. You're as reckless as ever. Asterisk, but then she looked at Fu. If that's what you want, then Konoha will welcome you. Fu's wings twitched slightly as she processed the words. I can really stay. Naruto grinned. Yeah, welcome home, Fu. For the first time in her life, Fu felt what it was like to belong. And as Naruto squeezed her hand, she knew, this was just the beginning. Fu stood there for a moment, as if waiting for someone to take it all away. But the warmth of Naruto's hand in hers, the acceptance in Tsunade's gaze, and the murmurs of the gathered villagers, all of it told her this was real. She had a home now. Her throat tightened, and she blinked rapidly to keep the tears at bay. Thank you, asterisk, she whispered. Naruto grinned. Number need to thank me, Yano. We're in this together. Tsunade sighed. Alright, enough standing around. You both need rest, and I need a damn drink. Asterisk, she turned to Sakura. Make sure they get checked at the hospital, then let them sleep. No arguments. Hi, Tsunade-sama. Asterisk, Sakura grabbed Naruto's ear, dragging him toward the hospital. Come on, idiot. You look like you'll pass out in the middle of the street. Ow, ow, ow. Sakura-chan, be gentle. Asterisk, Naruto whined. Fu giggled, floating alongside him. She's really strong, huh? You have no idea, asterisk. After a quick but thorough checkup at the hospital, Naruto and Fu were finally allowed to rest. Tsunade had given Fu temporary lodging in one of the shinobi apartments, but Naruto had a better idea. Why don't you stay at my place? He asked as they walked through the village, the moonlight casting a silver glow over everything. Fu blinked. Your place? Yeah. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. It's not much, but it's home. And, well, I'd like to have you there. Fu felt a warmth spread through her chest. I'd like that too. Naruto grinned. Great. But fair warning, my place is kinda messy, asterisk. Fu laughed. Then I guess we'll have to fix that together. As they stepped into Naruto's apartment, a cozy warmth settled over them. It was small, simple, but it was filled with him, his scent, his energy, his very presence. Fu looked around, taking it all in. It's nice. Really? Naruto scratched his cheek. Most people say it's a dump. Fu turned to him, smiling softly. It's yours. That makes it special. Naruto felt his heart skip a beat. As Fu settled in, Naruto realized something. This was the first time he wasn't alone in his home. For years, he had come back to an empty apartment, to silence. But now, with Fu here, it felt alive asterisk. And as she curled up on his couch, wings fluttering slightly as she dozed off, Naruto sat beside her, watching her peaceful face. For the first time in a long while, he felt at home asterisk. And he knew, deep in his heart, this was just the beginning of their story. Naruto watched Fu as she slept, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm. The soft glow of the moon highlighted her peaceful features, the exhaustion of their journey finally catching up to her. Her wings twitched slightly, and a faint smile graced her lips, as if she were having a pleasant dream. A warmth spread through Naruto's chest. He had spent so many nights alone, staring at the ceiling of his apartment, listening to the hollow silence that surrounded him. But now, the room didn't feel so empty. He exhaled softly, resting his arms on the back of the couch as he leaned his head against it. His body ached, but it was the good kind of ache, the kind that reminded him he was alive asterisk. Fu shifted slightly, murmuring in her sleep, and without thinking, Naruto reached out, gently pulling the blanket over her. Sleep well, Fu, asterisk, he whispered. The next morning, the smell of food filled the apartment. Naruto groggily opened his eyes, blinking at the early morning light filtering through his window. He sat up, stretching his sore muscles, and turned toward the small kitchenette where Fu was humming to herself, flipping something in a pan. Huh. Naruto rubbed his eyes. Fu. She turned, smiling. Good morning, Naruto. He stared at her, still half asleep. You cooked? Fu giggled. Yep. I figured since I'm staying here, I should help out. Asterisk she held up a plate of golden brown pancakes. Asterisk tada. Naruto's stomach growled at the sight, and he grinned. You're amazing, Fu. She beamed, setting the food on the table as he eagerly dug in. Asterisk Naruto mumbled through a mouthful. This is, wow, you're a great cook. Fu giggled, sitting across from him. I had to learn to cook for myself back in Takigakure. Not many people helped me, so I figured it out on my own. Naruto slowed his chewing. He understood that loneliness all too well. He swallowed and looked at her. Well, you don't have to do everything alone anymore. We're a team now. Fu blinked before smiling warmly. Yeah, we are. After breakfast, Naruto and Fu stepped out into the village. It was strange. People were looking at them, but unlike before, the stares weren't filled with suspicion or fear. There was curiosity, some hesitation, but there was also acceptance asterisk. Naruto waved to a few familiar faces, and to his surprise, some villagers actually waved back. Fu tugged at his sleeve. Naruto, is this what it feels like? What? To be accepted? Naruto paused, looking around. Yeah, asterisk, he said after a moment. I think it is. Fu smiled, her grip tightening on his arm. Then, I think I like it here. Naruto grinned. Good. 'Cause I'm not letting you go anywhere. Fu blushed slightly but didn't let go of his arm. For the first time, they weren't just two outcasts struggling to survive. They were home asterisk. Together. As Naruto and Fu strolled through the village, the morning sun bathed Konoha in a golden glow. The air was filled with the sounds of merchants setting up shop, shinobi heading out for missions, and the occasional laughter of children running through the streets. Fu held onto Naruto's arm as she took in the sight. It's so lively here, asterisk, she murmured. Asterisk Takigakure was always quiet. Everyone avoided me. But this feels different. Naruto grinned. Yeah, Konoha can be a crazy place. But you'll get used to it. They walked toward Ichiraku Ramen, where Tsuki greeted them with his usual warm smile. Naruto. Good to see you back, kid. And who's this? Fu perked up at the smell of ramen, her wings fluttering slightly. I'm Fu. Tsuki chuckled. Well, any friend of Naruto's is welcome here. First bowls on the house. Fu's eyes sparkled. Really? Naruto nudged her. You're in for the best meal of your life, ya know. As they ate, Fu slurped her ramen enthusiastically, her face lighting up with joy. This is amazing. Naruto laughed. Told you. Tsuki watched them with a knowing smile. You two seem close. Naruto blinked before rubbing the back of his head. Well, yeah, Fu's really important to me. Fu blushed, looking down at her bowl with a shy smile. Tsuki chuckled. Take good care of each other. Naruto and Fu exchanged a glance, their hands brushing against each other on the counter. Neither pulled away. As they finished their meal and stepped back onto the street, Fu hesitated. Naruto, asterisk. She looked up at him, her expression softer than he had ever seen. Thank you. For everything. Naruto scratched his cheek. You don't have to thank me, Fu. We're in this together. She hesitated for only a second before stepping closer, wrapping her arms around him in a tight hug. Naruto stiffened for a moment before smiling, his arms circling around her. For the first time in their lives, neither of them felt alone. And as they stood there in the middle of Konoha, wrapped in each other's warmth, the world felt a little brighter. As Fu nestled into Naruto's embrace, she felt a strange but comforting warmth spread through her chest. She had never experienced a moment like this before, where she wasn't just tolerated, but wanted asterisk. Naruto's arms around her felt solid, grounding her in the reality that she wasn't alone anymore. Naruto, on the other hand, was trying to ignore the rapid thudding of his own heart. He had hugged plenty of people before, but this felt different. Fu's warmth, the way she held onto him like he was something precious, it made his stomach do weird flips. Slowly, Fu pulled back, her vibrant orange eyes shining as she smiled up at him. That felt nice, asterisk, she admitted. Naruto rubbed the back of his head, grinning. Yeah, it did. Fu's wings fluttered behind her as she rocked on her heels. So, what do we do now? Naruto thought for a moment. Well, I guess I should show you around Konoha. If you're gonna live here, you should know all the cool spots. Fu perked up. Really? Like what? Come on, I'll show you. Asterisk Naruto grabbed her hand and started leading her through the village. The day passed in a blur. Naruto took Fu to the Hokage monument, where they sat on the edge, overlooking the village. This view is amazing. Asterisk Fu spread her arms as the wind rushed past, her wings twitching as if she wanted to take off. It's like the whole world is down there. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, I used to come here a lot when I was a kid. Whenever I felt lonely, I'd sit here and dream about the day everyone would acknowledge me. Fu turned to him. And now they do, asterisk. Naruto nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. Yeah, and now, I'm not alone anymore. Fu's fingers brushed against his. Me neither. As the sun began to set, they made their way back to Naruto's apartment. The day had been filled with laughter, stories, and small moments that neither of them would forget. As they stepped inside, Fu stretched with a satisfied sigh. Today was fun. Naruto grinned. Told ya, Konoha's a great place once you get to know it. Fu turned to him, hesitating for a second before stepping closer. Naruto, asterisk. She looked up at him, her expression vulnerable yet filled with something warm. I've never had someone like you before. Someone who cares. It means a lot to me. Naruto felt a lump form in his throat. He reached out, gently tapping her forehead with 2 fingers. Well, you're stuck with me now. So get used to it, ya know. Fu giggled, her wings fluttering happily. I think I already am. As they stood there, the soft glow of the evening light casting a golden hue over them, Naruto realized something. Fu wasn't just a friend. She was special asterisk. And maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something neither of them had ever dared to dream of. That night, Naruto lay on his futon, staring at the ceiling. His mind was restless, replaying the events of the day. Every moment with Fu had felt so natural, so right asterisk. The way she had smiled at him, the way she had held his hand without hesitation, the way her eyes sparkled when she discovered something new about Konoha, it all made his heart feel lighter. Fu, curled up on the couch with a borrowed blanket, was equally restless. She had spent her life yearning for connection, for someone who truly saw her. Now, she had that. Naruto saw her, not as a Jinchuriki, not as a weapon, but as Fu asterisk. She turned over, peeking toward Naruto's futon. Naruto. Are you asleep? If I was, I wouldn't be answering, ya know, asterisk, he teased, grinning in the dim light. Fu giggled softly. I wanted to say today was the best day I've ever had. Naruto shifted onto his side, facing her. Yeah. There was a pause. Then, in a quieter voice, she asked, do you think we'll always be like this? Naruto blinked. Like what? Together. Laughing. Happy. Naruto stared at her, at the vulnerability in her voice. He sat up, leaning his arms on his knees. Of course we will, Fu. We're a team now. You're not going anywhere, and neither am I. Fu hesitated before sitting up as well. The moonlight streaming through the window cast a soft glow over her features. Promise. Naruto grinned. Promise. Fu bit her lip, then did something unexpected. She scooted over, closing the distance between them. Can I stay here? Just for tonight? Naruto's breath caught. You mean, asterisk. I sleep better when I'm not alone. Asterisk she fidgeted with the edge of her blanket, her wings folding tightly against her back. Back home, I always felt safest when I was near Chome. But now, asterisk, she looked up at him. Now, I feel safe with you. Naruto felt his heart pound in his chest. He swallowed and nodded. Yeah, of course. You can stay. Fu smiled, scooting closer until she was right beside him. She hesitated for only a second before resting her head against his shoulder. Naruto stiffened at first, but then, slowly, he relaxed. He let his head rest against hers, their warmth mingling in the quiet night. Fu sighed, closing her eyes. Good night, Naruto. Naruto smiled softly. Good night, Fu. And for the first time in a long time, they both fell asleep feeling truly at peace asterisk. As the night deepened, Naruto found himself slipping into a dream unlike any he'd had before. He was standing in a vast meadow, the sky painted in hues of gold and orange. The air was warm, carrying the scent of wildflowers. A soft breeze rustled the grass, and in the middle of it all, Fu stood with her back to him, her wings glowing faintly in the twilight. Naruto took a step forward. Fu. She turned, her orange eyes shimmering. Naruto, asterisk. She smiled, soft, genuine, filled with something he couldn't quite name. Then she held out her hand. Stay with me. Naruto felt his breath hitch. There was something about the way she said it, like she wasn't just talking about the dream, but something much bigger. Of course, asterisk, he said, reaching for her hand. The moment their fingers touched, warmth exploded between them, like a pulse of chakra connecting their souls. The world around them shifted, and suddenly, they weren't in the meadow anymore. They were standing on the Hokage monument, overlooking Konoha. The village lights twinkled below them, and the stars stretched endlessly above. Fu turned to face him fully, stepping closer. You really mean it, she whispered. That we'll always be together. Naruto felt his heart hammer in his chest, but he didn't hesitate. Yeah, I meant it, Fu. No matter what happens, I'm not letting go. Fu's eyes widened slightly, her wings fluttering behind her. Then, she did something Naruto didn't expect. She stepped closer, standing on her toes, and pressed a soft, fleeting kiss against his cheek. Naruto froze, his mind going completely blank. Fu pulled back, her cheeks dusted with pink. Then I'll hold you to that, Naruto. Before he could say anything, the dream began to blur, fading away like mist. Naruto's eyes snapped open just as the first rays of sunlight streamed through the window. His heart was pounding, his skin still tingling where Fu had kissed him in the dream. What the hell was that? He muttered to himself. Then he realized. Fu was still curled up beside him, her head resting against his shoulder, her breath slow and even. Her hand was still lightly gripping his sleeve, as if she had held onto him even in her sleep. Naruto swallowed. The dream might have been just that, a dream, but the warmth in his chest felt real. He glanced down at Fu's peaceful expression, her soft breathing matching the rhythm of his own. Maybe this is real too, asterisk, he thought. For the first time, the idea didn't scare him. Instead, it made him smile. Naruto stayed still, letting the quiet morning wrap around them like a warm blanket. Fu's breath was slow, her face relaxed, and for a moment, he didn't want to move. He didn't want to wake her up and break whatever peaceful feeling had settled between them. But then, Fu stirred, her fingers tightening slightly around his sleeve. With a soft hum, she nuzzled closer before blinking awake. Her orange eyes fluttered open, meeting his own. For a second, they just stared at each other. Then, realization dawned in Fu's expression. Her eyes widened, her cheeks flushed, and she quickly pulled back, her wings twitching behind her. Wait. Asterisk. Naruto blinked as she sat up, her hands flailing slightly. Good morning, he said, scratching the back of his head. Fu covered her face with her hands. I didn't mean to sleep so close. I was comfortable, and you were warm, asterisk. Naruto chuckled. Relax, Fu, it's fine. She peeked at him through her fingers. You're not weirded out. Why would I be? He grinned. It was nice, ya know. Kinda cozy. Fu lowered her hands, her blush deepening, but there was a small, shy smile on her lips. Cozy, huh? Naruto stretched, yawning. Anyway, now that we're up, we should get something to eat. You liked ramen, right? Fu's face instantly lit up. Yes, let's go to Ichiraku's again. Naruto laughed, standing up. You're starting to sound like me. Fu grinned. Maybe that's not a bad thing. As they walked through the streets of Konoha, Fu stayed close, her hands tucked behind her back as she admired the village. The morning sun bathed everything in golden light, and the air was filled with the sounds of people starting their day. Naruto noticed how different she looked from when she had first arrived. Her shoulders weren't tense, her wings weren't folded tight against her back in caution. She looked happy. Hey, Fu. She turned to him. Yeah. He hesitated for a second before smiling. I'm glad you're here. Fu's eyes widened. Then, her expression softened, and she reached out, lightly squeezing his hand. Me too, Naruto. As they continued walking side by side, Naruto realized something. Fu had become more than just a friend. And maybe, just maybe, he didn't mind that at all. Ichiraku Ramen was just starting to open when Naruto and Fu arrived. Tyuki greeted them with a warm smile, already preparing their usual orders. 2 bowls of miso ramen, extra toppings. Tyuki asked with a knowing grin. You know it. Naruto said, giving him a thumbs up. Fu leaned against the counter, her wings twitching in excitement. I still don't know how something can taste this good. Back home, I never got to eat like this. Naruto frowned slightly at that. He knew she had grown up isolated, much like he had, but it still bugged him to hear how little she had experienced outside of her village. Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore, he said. From now on, we're eating as much ramen as we want. Fu laughed. That sounds dangerous. We might go broke. Then we'll just train harder and take more missions. Problem solved. Tyuki chuckled as he set 2 steaming bowls in front of them. Sounds like a good plan. Enjoy. They both dug in, the warmth of the meal filling them with comfort. Fu let out a happy sigh as she slurped her noodles. Naruto, if I ever leave Konoha, I'm taking this ramen with me. Naruto grinned. You'd have to fight me for it. Fu smirked. I'd win. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah? Yeah. Fu pointed her chopsticks at him. I've got wings. You can't catch me. PFF'd. I'll just use my shadow clones. Then I'll use my bugs. Then I'll use Rasengan. Fu gasped dramatically. That's cheating. Naruto burst out laughing, and Fu joined in. The warmth in his chest grew, something deeper than just friendship. He wasn't sure when it had started, but being with Fu made everything feel lighter. For once, he wasn't chasing after someone who didn't see him. Fu saw him, really saw him. And for the first time, Naruto thought that maybe, just maybe, he didn't have to chase at all. Later that afternoon, they trained together at one of Konoha's secluded training grounds. Naruto watched as Fu hovered in the air, her wings giving her a speed advantage that made her hard to hit. You're so slow, Naruto. She teased, dodging another kunai. I'm just warming up. He formed a shadow clone and tried to flank her, but she twisted in midair, flipping over him. Too predictable. She called, landing behind him. Naruto grinned. Okay, I get it. You're faster. Fu landed next to him, playfully nudging his shoulder. But you're stronger. If you ever catch me, I'm done for. Then I just have to catch you, huh? Fu tilted her head. Think you can? Naruto smirked. I know I can. Fu's wings fluttered. We'll see about that. And just like that, she took off, laughing as Naruto ran after her. The chase didn't feel like training anymore. It felt like something more, something real. Naruto wasn't sure where this was going. But he knew one thing for certain. He didn't want it to end. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, Naruto and Fu finally slowed down, catching their breath near a small river that cut through the training ground. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, reflecting off the rippling water. Fu sat on a rock, her wings folding neatly behind her as she kicked her feet lightly. You almost had me back there, she admitted with a grin. Almost. Naruto flopped onto the grass beside her, arms behind his head. You're just lucky I didn't take things seriously. Next time, I will catch you. Fu laughed, her gaze drifting toward the horizon. I hope you try. For a while, they sat in comfortable silence, the sounds of nature filling the space between them. Naruto closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of the fading sunlight on his skin. It had been a long time since he'd felt this content. Hey, Naruto. Fu's voice was softer now, thoughtful. Yeah. Do you ever think about the future? Naruto opened one eye, glancing at her. You mean like becoming Hokage? Yeah, all the time. Fu shook her head. Not just that. I mean, beyond that. What your life will be like. Who you'll spend it with. Naruto blinked. He hadn't really thought about it that way before. His entire life, his goal had been to become Hokage, to prove himself to the village. But beyond that, Fu smiled, hugging her knees. I used to think I'd always be alone, she admitted. That no matter what, I'd always be the outsider, the Jinchuriki that no one wanted. Naruto frowned. Fu, but then I met you. She turned to look at him, her orange eyes filled with something he couldn't quite name. And now, I don't feel so alone anymore. Naruto swallowed, his heart beating a little faster. He wasn't sure if it was the way she was looking at him, or the quiet sincerity in her voice, but something about this moment felt different. You'll never be alone again, he said, his voice firm. I promise. Fu studied him for a second, then smiled. You always keep your promises, don't you? Of course. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. That's what I do. Fu's smile widened. Then, to his surprise, she leaned over and rested her head against his shoulder. Naruto froze. His heart did this weird thing, like it skipped a beat, then tried to catch up all at once. I think, Fu murmured, if this is what the future feels like, I wouldn't mind it at all. Naruto swallowed, trying to ignore the warmth spreading across his face. But as he sat there, Fu leaning into him, the sound of the river filling the air. He thought that maybe, just maybe, he wouldn't mind it either. The evening air was cool, but Naruto barely noticed. Fu's warmth against his shoulder kept him grounded in the moment, her soft breath steady as they watched the river flow. He wasn't sure how long they sat there, but for once, he didn't feel the need to fill the silence. It was comfortable, peaceful in a way he hadn't experienced before. Then, Fu shifted slightly, tilting her head to look up at him. Naruto. He glanced down. Yeah. Do you ever wonder what love feels like? Naruto blinked, caught off guard. Huh. Fu smiled, a little sheepish. I mean, I know what friendship feels like. I know what loneliness feels like. But love, she paused, watching the river. I don't think I've ever felt that before. Naruto scratched the back of his head. I dunno. I mean, I used to think love was just about someone liking you back, but, he trailed off, thinking about Sakura. About how he used to chase after her, thinking that if she ever returned his feelings, that would be enough. But now, sitting here with Fu, he realized love might be something else entirely. Maybe it's different for everyone, he said slowly. Maybe it's about feeling safe. Feeling happy when they're around. Like, you don't have to be anyone but yourself. Fu's eyes widened slightly. Then, she gave a soft laugh. That's a nice way to put it. Naruto shrugged. It's just a guess. What about you? What do you think love is? Fu thought for a moment, then smiled. I think love is, when you don't want to say goodbye. When the thought of losing someone makes your chest hurt. Naruto's breath hitched. Because when she said it like that, he realized, he never wanted to say goodbye to her either. Fu must have noticed his expression because she suddenly laughed, nudging his arm. Relax, Naruto, it was just a question. You look like you saw a ghost. I do not. You totally do. Do not. Fu giggled, and Naruto found himself grinning despite the warmth in his chest. Hey, he said after a moment, wanna make another promise? Fu perked up. What kind? That no matter what happens, we stick together. You and me. No goodbyes. Fu blinked. Then, slowly, she held out her pinky finger. Number goodbyes, she echoed, linking her finger with his. Naruto grinned. Deal. As their hands lingered for a moment longer than necessary, Fu's smile softened, and Naruto felt something shift between them. Maybe love wasn't something that hit all at once. Maybe, it was something that grew. And as the stars began to dot the night sky, Naruto thought, if this was what love felt like, he wouldn't mind feeling it for a long, long time. The night deepened, but neither of them moved. The soft rustling of leaves, the distant chirping of crickets, and the gentle flow of the river created a world that felt separate from everything else, just the two of them, existing in this quiet space. Fu kept her pinky wrapped around his for a moment longer before finally pulling away, but her warmth still lingered. She leaned back on her hands, gazing up at the sky. You know, I've never really looked at the stars like this before. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Really? Fu nodded. Asterisk in Takigakure, I was always too busy training or sneaking around to avoid trouble. And when I wasn't doing that, I was just alone. But here, she exhaled softly. It's different. Naruto turned his gaze upward as well. Yeah, it is. They sat in silence again, but this time, it was filled with something unspoken. Naruto stole a glance at Fu, her green hair glowing under the moonlight, her orange eyes reflecting the stars above. His heart thudded. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic realization. It wasn't like those romance novels he once saw Ero Sennin write. No, this was different. It was warm, like something had been quietly growing between them all along, and he was only just now noticing. Fu turned to him with a small smile. Hey, Naruto. Yeah. Do you think, if things had been different, we still would have met? Naruto considered that for a moment. I don't know. Maybe. But I think, even if we didn't meet back then, we would have found each other eventually. Fu blinked, looking a little surprised. You really think so? Yeah. Asterisk Naruto smiled. Some things just feel meant to be, ya know. Fu stared at him, her expression unreadable. Then, she suddenly laughed, shaking her head. You always say things like that so easily. Naruto scratched his cheek. Is that bad? No. Asterisk, she murmured. It's one of the things I like about you. Naruto froze. Fu seemed to realize what she had said because her eyes widened slightly, her cheeks dusted with pink. They stared at each other. Neither of them spoke. Naruto felt his heart pound against his ribs. His mind scrambled to find something to say, but no words came out. Then, Fu bit her lip, looking away. It's getting late. We should probably head back. Naruto swallowed, forcing himself to nod. Why yeah, good idea. As they stood up and made their way back to the village, Fu walked a little closer to him than before. Their hands brushed once, twice, but neither of them pulled away. And Naruto thought, just maybe. He wasn't imagining the way his heart felt lighter when she was around. The walk back to Konoha was quieter than usual, but it wasn't an awkward silence. It was the kind of silence that came when words weren't enough to describe what was changing between them. Naruto glanced at Fu out of the corner of his eye. She was smiling softly to herself, her arms folded behind her head, her wings twitching slightly as if reflecting her emotions. She caught him looking and grinned. What? She asked playfully. Naruto quickly looked away, scratching his cheek. Nothing. Fu giggled. Liar. Naruto huffed, stuffing his hands in his pockets. Whatever. Fu's laughter was light, and for a moment, Naruto thought about how different she was from when they first met. She was still as energetic as ever, but now there was a softness to her. A warmth that felt different from his usual friendships. Something about that realization made his chest tighten. As they neared the village gates, Naruto slowed down. Hey, Fu. She tilted her head. Yeah. You, asterisk, he hesitated, rubbing the back of his head. You said earlier that you don't want to say goodbye, right? Fu blinked at him, then nodded. Yeah, and? Naruto exhaled, staring at the night sky for a second before looking back at her. Well, what if you didn't have to? Fu's eyes widened slightly. What do you mean? I mean, asterisk, he hesitated, suddenly feeling stupid for bringing it up. You don't have to go back to Takigakure, you know. You could stay here, with me. Fu's breath hitched. Naruto rushed to explain. I mean, I know you're still part of your village, and maybe it's not that simple, but, Asterisk. Naruto. He stopped, looking at her. Fu was staring at him with an expression he couldn't quite place, something between surprise and something deeper, something warmer. Then, she smiled, a little softer than usual. You really mean that? Naruto swallowed. Yeah, I do. Fu studied him for a long moment. Then, to his surprise, she took a step closer, close enough that he could see the faint freckles on her cheeks. I'd like that, asterisk, she murmured. A lot. Naruto's heart skipped a beat. Fu grinned suddenly, her usual energy returning. But if I stay, you better be ready. Because I'm not going to go easy on you in training. Naruto laughed, feeling the tension ease. Oh, you're on. They reached the village gates, and as they stepped inside, Fu stretched her arms over her head. All right, I'm exhausted. I'll see you tomorrow. Naruto nodded. Yeah, tomorrow. Fu hesitated for a second, then, before he could react, leaned forward and pressed a quick kiss to his cheek. Naruto froze. By the time he registered what had happened, Fu had already taken a few steps back, her cheeks slightly pink. Good night, Naruto, asterisk, she said with a small smile. Then, with a flutter of her wings, she was gone. Naruto stood there, staring after her, hand unconsciously touching his cheek. His brain was still catching up. Then, slowly, a grin stretched across his face. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something incredible. The moment Fu disappeared into the night, Naruto remained frozen in place, hand still resting on his cheek. His mind was racing, heart thudding so loudly he swore even Kurama could hear it. Oi, brat, you're standing there like an idiot. Asterisk. Naruto flinched as Kurama's voice echoed in his mind. Shut up. Asterisk, he muttered under his breath. TCH. You've fought enemies who could crush you in an instant, yet one little kiss on the cheek, and you're about to pass out. Pathetic. Asterisk. Naruto scowled. It's not like that. Oh, then why is your heart beating so fast? Asterisk. Naruto opened his mouth to argue but stopped. Why was his heart racing? He shook his head furiously and stomped toward his apartment. Whatever. I need sleep. But as soon as he flopped onto his bed, he realized sleep wasn't coming anytime soon. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Fu's bright smile. He felt the warmth of her lips against his cheek, brief but lingering. He heard her soft voice, "Good night, Naruto." Asterisk. He groaned, stuffing his face into his pillow. You're doomed. Kurama's laughter rumbled in the back of his mind. Naruto groaned again. The next morning, he was still groggy as he walked through the village, trying, and failing, to push last night's events out of his mind. But as soon as he reached Ichiraku Ramen, his peace was short-lived. Naruto. He barely had time to react before Fu crashed into him from behind, her arms wrapping around his shoulders in an excited hug. Morning. Did you sleep well? Naruto stiffened. Yeah, sure. Fu tilted her head, noticing his expression. You okay? You look weird. I do not asterisk, he protested, quickly stepping away to hide his face. Asterisk A anyway, what are you doing here so early? Fu grinned. I was looking for you, obviously. Naruto blinked. You were. Duh. Asterisk Fu beamed, rocking on her heels. You said yesterday that I could stay in Konoha, right? Well, I need to talk to Lady Tsunade about that. But before that, asterisk, she grabbed his wrist, pulling him forward excitedly, we need breakfast. Naruto barely had time to react before he was being dragged inside. Tsuki, the old ramen chef, smiled knowingly as they sat down. The usual, Naruto. Make it two. Asterisk Fu added cheerfully. Naruto glanced at her. You eat as much as me. Of course. Good food is important, and ramen is amazing. Fu declared, resting her chin in her hands. Another reason to stay in Konoha. Naruto's heart did that weird thing again. He quickly focused on his ramen as it was placed in front of them. Fu hummed happily as she dug in. So, after breakfast, will you come with me to see Lady Tsunade? Naruto nodded, still trying to process everything. Yeah, of course. Fu smiled brightly at him, and Naruto swore the sun wasn't the only thing lighting up the room. And just like that, he realized. He was falling for her. Hard.